Black Panther hitting the big screen tonight. I'm so excited to see it, and in my excitement, I picked up the Black Panther comics by Christopher Priest and started digging into those. So this is my comic book review. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler talk comic book review for Black Panther, the Christopher Reeve. It's not Christopher Reeves, I'll tell you that. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler talk comic book review for Black Panther by Christopher Priest. I was really excited to find these and to pick these up. Now, I got this, volume 1 that I guess has, 17 issues or something in there. I read the first 5 issues, and they are exceptionally good. With Black Panther coming out tonight, I wanted to go unprepared and get some more Black Panther knowledge and more Black Panther comic book stuff under my belt. Also, I really like when I watch the movie's interpretation of things, knowing the comic book interpretation and the source material, because it's part of the fun for me to note the differences and see where they're taking seeds and ideas, and also where they're going different, because I love that creative stuff, and that's really fun for me. So with this comic, there's a couple things I want to focus on. The first thing, cool things done with Vibranium. And when I talk about cool things done with Vibranium, I'm really looking at the Black Panther suit. Because all in one, in this comic, as they're showing you the Black Panther suit, in this suit, you see the true genius of Wakanda. You see the true genius of their technology and just how far advanced they are. Yeah, in this comic, you get a look at Vibranium, you get a look at Vibranium. You get a look at Wakanda. You get a look at the technology that exists in Wakanda. But I feel like in this Vibranium weave suit alone, you see how smart they are and the advancements they have. You get ideas of this when you watch Captain America Civil War and he's fighting Bucky and the helicopter shooting at him with a machine gun and he doesn't even move when the bullets hit him. Now we have an understanding it's Vibranium, so it's stopping the vibrations, and we get that. But there is so much more to this suit that I didn't even realize because I had never read a Black Panther Marvel comic before, and I thought it was incredible. There's this incredible scene where he's hunting down the murderer of this child in New York City. He finds this guy, and he throws him out the window, which is, really high up in this building. And as he's falling down, Black Panther jumps out the window, falls faster than that guy, catches that guy in the air, and then lands on the sidewalk. No impact and no sound. And what's interesting is, so you have Everett Ross, and he's kind of narrating this story, and as he's narrating it, he actually explains what's happening here. And what's interesting is it talks about the Vibranium suit and how just the soles of the boots are vibrating at such a frequency, or moving at such a frequency, that not only does it absorb the full impact of that land from that high landing on concrete, but it absorbed all of the sound. So it was seriously like a cat jumping from something high and landing completely silent. This suit is so freaking amazing, it takes Tony Stark's Iron Man suit and all the knowledge that Tony Stark has, and it puts it to shame. The other thing that was really cool is you see Black Panther has some really cool tech. He's got this little energy dagger. That's what they call it. But to me, it reminded me of a little miniature lightsaber. And if you turn that thing up to full blast, he could kill somebody with it. But he didn't have it up on full blast. And so he marked somebody with it. So it was marked, that person got marked with the energy signature of the energy blade, which meant now this dagger can find that person because they're marked with that energy. And so diving into Wakanda technology just with the gizmos that Black Panther has, with just the suit that he's wearing, it's incredible. And the other thing is, so you're watching Captain America Civil War, and I've been wondering, okay, so he is just as powerful as Captain America. He is running as fast as those cars. He is moving at such a quick pace, and he's not getting exhausted. Where is this coming from? So if you're like me, and you don't know too much about Black Panther history, it's really cool to dig into this comic and see that in his rite of passage, as he's fighting all these warriors, one of the things he earns is eating this, root, this plant that's in the shape of a heart. And it heightens his senses and heightens his abilities. So it gives him those kind of powers and abilities. So he's got these abilities on top of the fact he's wearing this incredible suit. The other thing that was really cool about the Vibranium suit and the technology of this suit, I don't even understand how this works, but this is apparently how it works. T'Challa's walking around New York in just a regular suit. But then when he needs to spring into action as the Black Panther, you don't even really see him hit a button, but it's like he hits a button or something, and all of a sudden it looks like he kind of blacks out or phases out, and then all of a sudden he's wearing the Black Panther suit. I think the indication there is he's always wearing the suit, and the suit is always like in some sort of disguise, and that blows my mind. And it just shows you how smart Wakanda is. It shows you how far advanced they really are. It shows you how great their technology is. And it does it all just in the form of this suit. And it's just incredible. The lore, I love lore. I love lore in comics. I love it. And the lore behind the Black Panther, the more I read it, the more interesting and fascinating it is. I didn't know how hooked on this I was going to get. The Wakanda Backstory. And I liked it because the backstory in this was different than the movies. The heart of it is the same. We see T'Challa's father die, and so T'Challa wears now the mantle of both king and warrior. I mean, you can't change the heart of that because that's just the lore. That's the character. You can't mess with that. But it's really cool to see the MCU's interpretation, which still follows the heart, but it's different. Then you read this Christopher Priest comic, and the way that it's portrayed in here is also different, but really, really cool. Because it gives you a lot more backstory with Wakanda. It gives you a lot more backstory with Ulysses Klaue. Ulysses Klaue, who's the guy who got his arm chopped off in Avengers Age of Ultron, is like the main baddie. I mean, Black Panther is, I guess, Lex Luthor is kind of the idea that I'm getting here. And it's just really interesting because you really see that he fashioned a weapon using vibranium as its source that became a living terror and nightmare to the people of Wakanda. He was trying to go for vibranium. He's a greedy little dude, and he wants the vibranium, and he killed Wakanda's king with this weapon. T'Challa picks up this weapon, uses it against Ulysses, which causes him to lose his hand, but T'Challa didn't operate the weapon right, which destroyed the weapon, which then chased all these people out of the country, and so they lost that war. Wakanda wins that war, and then you have T'Challa becoming the king. So that was a really interesting backstory, and it really ties Ulysses Klaue right into this. The other thing about Ulysses Klaue is this dude actually brought Wakanda into the light, and his selfish desire to get a hold of vibranium for profit. Wakanda was a secret hidden nation, and he brought the spotlight on it, so now the world knows that this exists. So they don't like Ulysses Klaue. So all that coolness said, here are some things I'm hoping to see in the Black Panther movie. One of the things they address in Wakanda in this Christopher Priest comic book is the different factions that exist inside Wakanda. I mean, you see in the Black Panther trailer, there's a super technological city. You also see a whole tribal side to Wakanda. So in this graphic novel, what you have is you have the city folk, you have the tribal people, and they don't like each other. Then there's a whole third faction here where T'Challa has set up this refugee camp area where tribal leaders who are seeking asylum from the ethnical wars and things like that, they are in this refugee camp area, and those in the refugee camp don't like the city folk or the tribal people, and the city folk or tribal people don't like the refugees. So you got all these factions that just don't like each other. And so there's a balance trying to be met there. So I'd be very curious to see if they would touch on that in this movie and if that's something that they're going to dive into. Another thing that's really interesting in this graphic novel, in these 5 issues, there's this character called Mephisto. And at first I was kind of like, this is weird because it's a demon. It's a demon who shows up because there's this bad guy, Achebe, who wanted to take over, T'Challa's throne. And so to do this whole plot that he was doing, he sold his soul to this demon, and this demon in exchange gave him and his troops power to take the throne of Wakanda, to cause the change that Achebe wanted. And so I thought, wow, what an interesting grounded story, and all of a sudden there's this weird demon. What is going on here? But here's what they did that was really interesting because it showed more of Wakandan technology. When Black Panther goes to confront this demon, a true supernatural being, he decks the dude in the face and knocks him unconscious. So how is a mere mortal gonna deck a freaking demon in the face and knock him unconscious, you say? Because Wakanda is so smart that even within the claws of the Black Panther suit, and let me just tell you, I didn't understand a word they said after this point, but let's just say it was very magical and scientific at the same time, that basically, through their technology, they know how to even manipulate magic so that while he's wearing that suit, if he encounters something magical like a freaking supernatural demon, he could deck the thing in the face. And so it's really interesting how they are so smart that they know there's a supernatural realm, they know there's supernatural beings, they know there's something beyond the skin of this earth, and they have technology that knows how to utilize that. They know what to do with magic. It's like they almost seem to know what it is. And so that was an incredible scene to watch Black Panther confront Mephisto. Number one, you saw how clever Mephisto was. Number two, you saw how clever Black Panther was. But number three, you saw how smart their technology is that they can even mess with this stuff. So I'm hoping, like, since we've introduced the magical element into the MCU with Doctor Strange, I really hope we get to see that side of Wakanda, the side of Wakanda where the technology is so great, like what Thor said in that first Thor movie, you know? Magic is just science that you don't understand. I mean, is that the case? And do the Wakandans understand it? I would love to see that addressed in the movie because it started weird and cheesy in the comic, and then it got incredibly smart and very interesting. Now, there is so much to talk about in terms of the story of these first 5 issues, and I've only read the 5 out of 17 issues, so I haven't even completed the story yet. But in the 5 issues, I just got so excited, I have to talk about it. I have to review it. I have to tell you how excited this got me for the movie and the things that I'm now hoping to see in the movie. So I hope we discuss that pretty good, but there's so much more to talk about. So if you want to talk more about this comic with me, let's talk about it in the comments. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button to become a Durbanian and hit the bell next to that button. That way you're notified for the next comic book review, a drop, or movie review. I'm seeing this movie tonight, man. So there is a movie review coming for this and a spoiler talk coming for this. I am super excited to see the Black Panther movie and talk about it in depth with you. So definitely hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit that bell. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.